In this Fextralife video, I have something special for you guys. I'm going to be showing you an interview that I did with Jonathan Jacques-Belletete, who is the creative director and art director on Hell Is Us. This interview actually took place several months ago at their studio in Montreal, Rogue Factor's studio, and he is absolutely an incredible guy. I spent lots of time with him outside of this interview talking to him about Hell Is Us. And despite our review on Hell Is Us is one of those games that I was absolutely pulling for the whole way. I'm still pulling for it. I still think I had tons of fun playing that game. It just fell short in a couple key areas. But I think this is a studio that we're going to see big things from in the future. And I think it's a studio that really deserves the support of gamers because of what it's trying to do. It's not just cranking out sequel after sequel of some lame game that you know exactly what you're getting. It's trying to do something new. It's trying to do something different. And even though they didn't completely nail the execution of it, they got the parts right that most people fail on. And so I want to show you this interview that I did with him because he has a lot of interesting things to say about the gaming industry and Hell Is Us in general. So without further ado, let's get into our interview.
So I always like to ask a disarming question first. So my first question is, did you mean for Remy to look like Todd Howard?
Once people start saying that, it's like you look at it, it's like, oh no. So the answer is no.
Okay, all right.
It was. This being said, we're fully aware of the hair we've given him, and impact, I guess you could say, and that's the whole idea. The way that I'm seeing it, and I'm not saying it's as the same effect or that it will end up culturally being as impactful. But if you remember, when the first Metal Gear Solid came out, even the second one, the mullet, right? The guys call it mullet. For you guys in the United States, it's what Solid thing has. It's like you call it like a wrestler kind of haircut. Us, it's more like a hockey player, and it was like it. Now we're kind of like okay with it because also it became a real trend in the 2000s and everything. But back then it was really like why the hell does he have hair like that? It was like a joke haircut, what he had, and it just you know what I mean. Like when people talk about it, it's good. It's just good, and that was a bit the idea behind it. Like find a main character in any game that has this bloody ball of curled blonde hair. There's none. They all look the same, and everybody complains about what male characters look like. Well, ours don't look like that. And also, I like the fact that we could make literally a silhouette of him, like just like a black, like let's say a logo. Let's say if the game becomes known, right? And right, we'll be like, oh, that's Rennie. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So that's a bit the idea. And yes, I'm aware of it traces a line in the sand. You're either on the right or the left, or you like it or you don't. And I'm perfectly fine with that.
Okay. I wanted to ask you, because this is something that I struggle to describe Hell Is Us. How would you sum up Hell Is Us in your own words?
I don't know. I mean, it's honestly, it's an adventure game. It's just an adventure game, man. It's just weren't all games kind of like that back in the days? Like it was just you'd start something that you didn't really know what it was. You kind of had to learn what the flavor was, what the game kind of wanted you to feel, and every game was always kind of trying to do a bit its own thing, which is so rare nowadays. Like everything has become so formulaic, and of course it's formulas. You haven't reinvented the wheel at every corner. But I don't know. To me, it's just an adventure game where there's combat and there's adventuring, and you need to solve puzzles, and you need to talk to people, you need to learn about the world, and it's just a good old adventure. Honestly, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my next question is kind of piggybacking off that, which is, so what about this adventure game sets it apart from other adventure games? Well,
it's definitely, what I call the player plattering, which is the inverse of silver plattering, which is also these old words that I've invented, or expressions that I've invented, which is I consider that adventure games or RPGs or whatever, where you have to explore and find things, especially contemporary ones, like all the means and verbs and techniques that we've developed in the past. The modern era, let's say, the mid 2000s to now, of all the quest markers and the objective markers, and even the ones that you can put yourself, and then you have a map that has all these things that you can even drop your own icons on it. Then you have the mini map. Then you have your compass. That's basically, it's not a compass. It's a magical power. It's like it's a sixth sense, right? So it detects everything of interest around you. Then you have your quest journal that tells you what to do with, often with like what I call a shopping list in it, right? first, that's the first step of your quest, the second, the third, and then you get check marks on them. And then when you finish the quest completed, blah, blah, blah. And then when you think about this, you're definitely in the theme of exploration and discovery. You're in the theme, but you're not really actually doing it. It's being given to you on a silver platter. It's like, let's just make a quick, let's invent the quest, right? You have to find Bob at the fire inn. And then, so what's going to happen is going to have a quest marker that's going to bring you to the neighborhood where the fire inn is in. Once you're there, the quest marker is going to move away. Then you go, and then the quest marker is going to be on the door of where the fire inn is in. Then when you open the door, you get into the inn. The quest marker is above Bob, like this. That's fly by wire. Like everything's been handed to you and what to do. So I kind of inverted it. I said, let's get rid of this. I'm gonna call it, instead of silver plattering, I'm gonna call it player plattering. The player does his own little platter of what he wants to do and how to do it. So I think that's what really sets it apart. It's like we took all these things, all the silver plattering things, threw it out the window. We said, how would it work if we didn't have this? And it was like, it's so something I had been toying with for quite a while before we started that game. And I was like, couldn't it just work like in real life? Like, like before cell phones and GPSs and whatnot. It's just, if you threw a party at your parents' cottage, you tell your friends, so, you take the 20, and then drive all the way exit 63, and then take exit 63, first gas station, turn left, and then keep driving until you see the house. We call him the crazy guy. It's where he has all those bird houses stuck to his tree. When you see that, turn right, drive all the way to the big boulder painted red, turn left, first cottage on the right is ours. It worked. It's always worked. That's how we did it. I was like, why couldn't this work in a video? I didn't think it'd be easy. I didn't think I knew how to do it, but I was like, just conceptually, I was like, why wouldn't it work? And because visuals in games, they're either to like decorate or to represent themes and metaphors, right? It's usually why we use the visuals, but the visuals never really tell you what to do. I mean, the environment, you know what I mean? Like, obviously, a visual can be like a note that you find that tells you a clue, but I mean, the environments never really tell you what to do or how to do it. They're just more like to be pretty or to convey the themes of the game or the metaphors or whatever. I was like, in real life, that's how we orient ourselves. And also by sound and everything. It was the same for the NPC in adventure games or RPGs where NPCs get talk, like me. But it doesn't bloody matter. I mean, it matters if you want to follow the story, if you're interested. Of course, it's perfectly fine. But in terms of what you're supposed to do next, you can just ignore it because then a quest marker will appear. In our game, the info of what you're supposed to do next or whatever is what the NPC tells you. So that's where we kept, first of all, the text really, the actual conversation NPCs, like they don't talk too much because the information isn't there. So I think that's what truly sets it apart from those other adventure games or whatever. But of the contemporary era,
right? Because
if you go back, if you Zelda Link to the Past, it's exactly how it worked. I won't get into this now because again, I'm going to talk for 5 hours, but there's little side quests because the concept of side quests didn't really exist, but there's little mini stories in Zelda Link to the Past that are unbelievably amazing emotionally and also how you solve them by, at first you didn't even know there was anything to do. And then it's like, holy shit, and it's just an example among so many others. But I think in the modern time, that sets our game apart, yeah.
Okay. Are you concerned at all that, there's like a line between too much hand-holding and then not enough? Like, are you trying to, find that balance?
Absolutely. And I think that's where the datums came in. So your data pad, you have kind of like your investigation wall, your database where you see all the different investigations you're doing and basically your clues and your leads, right? Which we call datums in the game. Because one of the things that we were concerned about is especially if you stop playing for a little while and you come back, right? Because also the games that when I say the old school games in the 90s games, they often were as narratively based, which is not true for all of them, but still maybe going back was not as complicated, which actually might be completely false. But anyway, it's besides the point. The idea is we wanted people to have anchors they can get reattached to. So there's no quest journals. The datums are not a quest journal, but they're your clues. And if you haven't played for, 2-3 weeks, a month, you get back and it's like, okay, I'm not too sure what I was doing, but if you go okay, there was this clue, there was this person was linked to that. Oh yeah, it was this. And and this person thought that if I go there, maybe, and then you get your picture back. So that was important because you're right. At first, we really wanted to go super hardcore, right? So I think it would have come with like a notepad and a pencil. Like it would have come with the box that's like, good luck, you know. Anyway, I won't realize we need to sell more than 12 copies, you know. You know what I mean? So there's that. And like a game that I absolutely adore and that I think is more than a masterpiece. I'm not even sure how they did it. It's Outer Wilds, absolutely insane. But yeah, if you stop playing for it, they do have also like a tree thing and the connections, but it's so Infovania-ish, Knowledge-Vania-ish that if you stop playing, like good luck, right, coming back. And that's what we wanted to make sure that it might be a little more easy.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. The game seems to have like sort of a sci-fi horror type element to it, and I was wondering what your inspiration for that was.
I'm not sure. Like, I think it's definitely naturally kind of cosmic horror. Like it fits all these things. Not Lovecraftian. It's not a Lovecraft game in any way. But like the definition of cosmic horror, that it's this thing that's it's probably scientifically explainable, but we just don't know. You know, like some people. I've always liked the idea. Like some people say that the TV series Chernobyl is cosmic horror because it's this thing that it's this force that's unseen that we don't control. Radioactivity, all these things, and it's like it kills people. And back then you understood it. Like for example, if you took a nuclear reactor, right, and you brought it back to the best scientists of the 19th century, right? The top scientists of the world in the 19th century, they would think there's a demon in there. You know, they'd play with it, does electricity, what the hell? But they all start dying because it's, you know, if it wasn't sheltered properly, and they would all start dying from radioactivity and all that, they would think this thing is possessed or whatever. The top scientists, right? So that's the thing about the cosmic horror, is like this mathematical thing that we can't really figure out, but it's there. And there's definitely that. I think just naturally, there's a lot of this in Hell Is Us, even though we didn't really kind of started with that. But the idea is really, I'm a big believer that you put like themes down, and then you let those themes kind of guide you. So this whole idea was, you know, it had to be about a civil war. It had to be about emotions. It had to be about the fact that emotions and passions are often the causes for the worst atrocities. It had to be modern day, but yet we needed those old school weapons, blah, 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 blah. And then it kind of started informing these enemies, and he's like, because, you know, it's basically the enemies are the physical manifestation of human emotions, yeah? So, but what does it look like, a human emotion? We've never seen them, you know? So then it's, yeah, you just let that guide you. You know, we've tried so many things, and then we ended up with these more kind of fractally geometrical thingies, and like the hollow walkers. Basically, what they represent is like, you know, if you an emotion basically cannot walk by itself. Like it sounds weird, but let's say you wake up in the morning pissed off, right? It's like you cannot send your anger to your office. You have to drive with your anger and bring it with you to the office. If you see something nice on the way, good, then you'll bring joy to your office. But and then, so I know it sounds weird and stupid, but it was literally what made us say, okay, so the haze, the emotion, cannot be on its own. It needs like that facsimile of a human being who felt it, connected to it, and that's kind of the anchor point. And if that thing moves, then the emotion can move with it. And so that's what I mean. These things that just kind of intertwine, and then they start informing your visuals and informing your gameplay. And it's like, oh yeah, so we need an umbilical cord. Oh, what are we gonna do with it? And it's then you end up with something that hopefully tastes a bit different, that you have to process a bit when you first see it, and then yeah, you got a thing, I guess.
Okay. That was an interesting answer. I would say the next question. The music of the game really seems to add to the experience when you're playing. Like it kind of sets this mood. And I wanted to ask you, you know, how important it was to you guys. It seems like you have a pretty heavy focus on it in the game to get that aspect really right.
Well, one thing that we're very lucky about that, like our composer is part of the team, is in-house, right? Which is really rare for video games. Like usually you hire like a music composer for that specific project, and then after that he's done and he goes on to do something else, and he's not in the studio either. So us, he's a member of the team. The audio director was extremely talented as well. Yeah, we just wanted, like at first, one of the main inspirations was the movie Annihilation. House very much comes in horror as well, and those are tones in there that we really like. But they got inspired by it, but obviously they created their own thing coming through it. But the game is all about mood, man. I think you can cut it with a knife. So the music had to be absolutely part of the atmosphere, not just like a background thing or just some games sometimes even don't have music, and for some of us it works really, really, really well. And we tried it for that one, but we just felt that they should always be a little something. And I mean, they worked so hard. They tried so many things. And there's a few surprises as well. Like sometimes we kind of twist it quite a bit. And it creates like little unexpected moments in terms of the soundscape. But yeah, it just tried to make it sound a little weird, really,
Okay. Well, I thought the music really added to the tone of the game when you're playing. Like, it really makes you feel this sort of, I don't know, like I said, it almost feels sci-fi-ish, but not like heavily. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, the last question I have for you is about developing combat for this game. So, obviously, when you're creating an action-adventure game, you have to have some sort of combat in that game. Yeah. How did you land with sort of the, I don't know, Souls-ish like style of combat? What made you lean to that when you could have done, X amount of things?
We could have. Yeah. I think. So when you wanted the game, well, at first we wanted to get it a little more hardcore, but rather quickly when you made it a bit more mid-core, more accessible. But I think nowadays, even if you make something mid-core, there are certain mechanics or verbs that From Software has invented that are really hard to ignore. You can't, maybe they're not hard to ignore, but they're some of this stuff is good to know. So let's put it that way. Yeah, but we still wanted to very much have our own voice. So this idea, like putting the health connected to your stamina, right? So as you lose health, you lose your stamina with it, which can create a vicious circle, which is why we have the limbic pulse and all that stuff. But it's something that we have been thinking about for a while as well, because it's just like in real life. Like if you think about it, in real life, you pretty much just have one hit point, one health point. Everything else is stamina. It's like as long as your stamina is there, you can kind of like, dodge things and whatever. And it's like, I boxed for many years, and it's like when your stamina is gone, you got one health point left. The next hit coming in, you're done. Like you're done. Your tank is empty. You're huffing and puffing. It's like that's it. We try to replicate this a little bit, and I think so. Yeah, it's like there's health, there's stamina. It's like a Souls game, but it works a bit differently. And the combat loop, with the fact that when you have a linked entity, right, of two limbic entities, like a Hollow Walker and a Haze. While the Haze is out, the Hollow Walker is invincible. First, you have to, beat the Haze, send it back inside the Hollow Walker. Then the Hollow Walker becomes vulnerable. But if you don't kill him fast enough, the Haze will come out again, but with the same amount of health. Blah blah blah. We still kind of created our own thing with it. So yeah, so we started with a bit. It's the Souls thing, but I think we very much made it our own, and it's definitely not as hard, and it's not the same gameplay. Also. We needed references. Like it's just, we had never done a third-person melee combat system. We needed to start from scratch. We need to find anchor points and start from there, because it's so bloody hard, man. It's so cool. It's not the best third melee combat in the world. I would never say such a thing. I think I'm extremely happy what we've reached. I think it's extremely competent. I think it's got a lot of crunch. It's got a lot of weight to it. But we had to learn, man, to make a lot of mistakes and a lot of decisions. So we needed references.
Cool. Well, that's all the questions I had. So
cool, man.
Appreciate your time.
Did you play all the 3 maps?
I did. I was on the last map on my interview, so I'm kind of like in the middle of it.
Are you done with that?
Yeah, I was an epic now. So
you enjoying it?
I am enjoying it. Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah. Absolutely.
So that wraps up our interview with Hell Is Us creative director Jonathan Jacques-Belletete. and some of the things he has to say. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. For those of you out there that have played Hell Is Us, how did you find it? I found, to me, that the combat, even though it was repetitive, it still wasn't enough to deter me from really enjoying the game itself. If it hadn't been for the ending, I probably would have been like all in on this game. But the combat itself is almost there. It just needs more enemy variety. And I think if we do see a Hell Is Us 2 or some sort of, DLC or expansion in the future, I'm hoping they address some of the criticisms. But they have so much good going on. They absolutely deserve your support. But I want to know what you think. Let me know in the comments below.